Hey everyone, it's Megan the Crafty Quinn, and today I'm going to be showing you how to use 3 of Dollar Tree's blank nautical signs and one of their nautical houses. These are the signs that I'm going to be working with today, and I did work on a 4th of theirs as well, and that was in my previous nautical DIYs video, and it came out looking like this. So if you want to know how to do this one, I have the video link down in my description box, and I'm going to link it here on the screen as well. So we're just gonna go ahead and get started with the first sign here. I love this blue color. It's a very, I don't know, ocean color. So I have this fishnet from Michaels. This comes in a 3-pack with 3 different kinds of fishnet if you want to know where I found that. And so I actually bought this last year for my nautical crafts last year, and I still had a bunch left over, so had to use it for the background of this sign. This is the starfish garland, which is one of Dollar Tree's new nautical pieces this year. They did not have these last year, so definitely a hot item to find. They have a few different versions of these wood bead garlands. They have a anchor one, they have the starfish one, they have a sailboat one, and now I just decided to use the stars from this because I just loved the star pieces that were on the garland instead of making another garland like I did in my last video. So this is Waverly's Fawn color chalk paint. I love it. It's kind of like a brownish gold color. I will say though that this fawn color, for some reason, it just does not it kind of keeps coming like undone. Like you kind of have to keep mixing the paint. So I will say that. So just make sure that you keep stirring the paint once you open it. So I decided to use that same fawn color and a stencil brush. You can get these at Dollar Tree. And I decided to just kind of go over this sign a little bit, kind of make it sandy. That was kind of what I was thinking with the color. I would maybe kind of give it a sandy, distressed look, or just like a kind of like a dirty, like washed up kind of look. I don't know. I just wanted to see how it would turn out if I tried using this color to distress with instead of just painting. So I did that for the entire sign, and we're gonna take this mermaid cutout. This is one of Dollar Tree's other new nautical shore living pieces, and what's great is it comes with that little starfish that you see on her hand there. So I thought that was so cute. And I'm taking now Waverly's pool chalk paint color, and we're gonna kind of paint just like her top half here. And I don't know if you can tell, but in that little hole where you normally have the twine to be able to like hang this as a sign, I took some spackle and just kind of fill that in. And then I'm going to paint over that after it dries for a few minutes. I decided to then take that same fawn color that I was using on the sign and on the stars, and I just went over her tail with that. I thought it was a neat contrast. I really just liked the color combination of the blue and of this fawn color. It was kind of like a blue and gold kind of theme, so I definitely thought that it looked pretty like that. And then I took one of those stars and I decided to hot glue it to her hair, as you can see there. Now this netting is definitely not the easiest to hot glue down, but I just kind of, what I did was anytime there was like a knot or something, you know, I would just kind of hot glue down as many kind of pieces that were in the middle together, any piece that looked like it was like knotted together, just kind of going for like the thickest parts of the netting to try and hot glue this down. And if you keep doing that like every so often, it definitely did a good job of holding it down. And I used 2 big globs of hot glue to hold this mermaid down in place as well. And you could just easily place the mermaid on top of the netting and there's no problem there. And it all gets glued down together. So I love to obviously hot glue everything down. And that's just what works for me, honestly. So I decided to take these seashell wood cutouts from Dollar Tree. I decided, you know what, let's put one of these in her other hand. It really looks, you know, like a mermaid who's finding things, right? Does that sound a little familiar? So I decided to take these other wood cutout pieces. These come in like multiple packs from Dollar Tree. They have multiple different kinds of packs. Each one of those different shapes you see there, those are all, they each have their own packs of the wood cutouts. So there's a dolphin pack, there's a seashell pack, there's a turtle pack. So I use that same pool color on all of those wood cutouts that you see there, and then I'm taking fawn again and tried to kind of do like a multi kind of like an ombre look almost. So I did the blue first, and then I was like, let me see how it looks if I just kind of add fawn to like the different sides of these. So I did blue and this goldish brownish color, and then I just hot glued down all of the little wood cutouts. So I kind of feel like it looks like they're all caught in like a fishnet or something. So then I just added a little bit more of that color to the starfish in her hand to match the rest of this sign. And then, I don't know, something about her tail, it just looked too plain to me, so I went back and my goal was kind of to distress it, I guess, and then I just kind of kept going with it, and then once I kept going with it, I was like, oh wait, no, I need to just, I guess, keep going with this and just see where it's good, you know, how it's going to turn out. So I just kept messing with it, and then I think I probably did too much with it at the end, but it was fun to just kind of play around, and, you know, I like the way the blue color turned out a bit, and then I added some to her hair as well, that fawn color, so really love how this sign turned out. Next we have another sign. This sign's more of like a royal blue color. So I'm taking these stencils with my foam brush, and by the way, my foam brush for this, my sponge brush, my foam brush, whatever you want to call it, way too big for this type of project, so definitely use a smaller foam brush with stencils like these. These stencils, these are not from Dollar Tree because they are large and they are actually Waverly stencils. So I found these stencils in the same place that you find the Waverly paint at Walmart. So they were all just there in that same like Waverly section. I love the size of these letters because they're about 2 inches tall each. So it's really just the perfect size because I really feel like these letters really stand out. And like I said, it was definitely an issue. So with using that foam brush, the size of it, it was way too big. So I definitely would have went for a smaller or medium size one next time. That's what I would do next time. So I just kind of had to, you know, try and get off as much of it as I could with a paper towel, and then I went back and I fixed it later. So I took some of Dollar Tree's nautical rope. I was so excited for just any excuse to use this nautical rope. And then I took another one of Dollar Tree's products that are out right now, these MDF anchors. They have these in a couple of colors. You just want to hot glue that down. It holds it really well. You don't really need anything else. You know, just put a lot of hot glue down and you're good. And after I put that nautical rope at the very bottom, I figured, you know what, let's just trim this whole sign and we're gonna make it a mini kind of like leaner sign instead of an actual wall hanging sign. So I definitely followed that trick that you guys told me last time to easily cut this rope. I just I just put some tape around the ends where I wanted to cut it, and that held all of those strings in place to easily be able to cut it with my scissors, so I didn't have to take forever to cut each strand of this nautical rope. So after you do the trim, and you can tell I just fixed those spots right there, I feel like it sticks out a little bit, you can kind of tell, but overall I do like how the sign turned out, so I highly recommend making one of those. So this is just your midway reminder to subscribe if you haven't already. Please make sure to like this video, give it a big thumbs up. That helps my video do well, and in turn it helps my channel grow. Alright, on to the next sign. I will say that this sign and probably the mermaid sign definitely took the most amount of time, so definitely were some long projects because there were so many pieces of painting involved. I decided to take some white Waverly chalk paint and take a stencil brush, like I said, those are sold at Dollar Tree, and decided to start distressing all around kind of like the inside of the seahorse to really make the seahorse like pop. And then I did take that paint and kind of like distress the whole sign. So I had some kind of white paint behind everything to make everything else pop. So these are more of Dollar Tree's wood cutouts. I decided to use a lot of wood cutouts for my projects because I bought way too many of them. I bought every like wood cutout pack of things I saw at Dollar Tree in the shore section that I saw, and obviously I bought way too many. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to use as many as I can in these projects just to use them up. So we're taking more of that Waverly Pool color. I hot glued down all of these different shapes. As you can tell, I have an anchor, a whale, a starfish, a turtle. These are all hot glued down about an inch apart, and then I just went over with my foam brush and just gave them all a quick coat. Next, I took these seashell cutouts. I have way too many of these. I feel like there's got to be at least 10 or more. I think about 12 or so come in each pack of these like little wood cutouts. So another reason why I wanted to use up so many of these for these projects today, because I have way too many of them. So I actually took some plaster Waverly chalk paint for these seashells. I like it because it's an off-white color, you know, and I just felt like it just fit more rather than having this like stark white color for these seashells. So I'm actually using more of the fawn color, the fawn Waverly color that I was using before in my mermaid project. And I'm taking another stencil brush and I'm just kind of going over it, and it helps give that distressed look that I love. I love using stencil brushes like this. That's just my go-to. I was using chippy brushes for a while for my distressing, but now I've kind of gravitated more towards using these stencil brushes. They're supposed to, so they're officially called stencil brushes, but I have never ever used them for a stencil. As you can tell, I love to use foam brushes a lot more. So I decided to use more of that nautical rope, and as you can tell, I taped the end of this just so you can see what that looks like, but I'm just kind of trying to measure it because I'm going to tape the other side of this nautical rope, and then that's how I know where to cut. So as you can tell, it holds the strings in place a lot better, and thank you guys so much for suggesting that because I I keep using it now. It's definitely my go-to technique, so just really glad that you guys are awesome and you told me about that. Definitely made things a lot easier. So once the trim is added, I actually decided to go back and just kind of as a final step here, I decided to distress not only the seashells, but all of my blue sea animal and anchor wood cutouts as well, just to do the same thing and give it the distressed kind of washed out look. So here is how the sign looked when it was all done. Another leaner sign and not a wall hanging sign. So last but not least, we are going to use one of these houses. This is my first little beach house project. I use a lot of these throughout my projects throughout the year. I had a bunch of these stockpiled from last year, so that I had used for different projects. So I made sure to grab a few for this year's projects as well. So absolutely love these. Obviously the stickers kind of just come off easily if you just kind of peel at them a little bit. This paper, not so much. So I just kind of ripped off as much as I could and then used my finger sander to smooth down the rest and make sure it was even. I like using this scraper tool. I found this from Dollar Tree. It was over with the Cricut tools that Dollar Tree sells. And not all houses like this will be this easy to get the roof off, honestly. I've had some that are just really, really, you know, nailed down and glued down, and they do not want to come up no matter how much heat you put on it. So I got really lucky with this house that it did not give me nearly as much trouble as the other ones have lately. And you just want to go really, really gentle. You know, obviously you have to lift up this roof piece, and it's not a very strong piece, and it's very thin, just a little MDF piece. So if you're not careful, you can easily snap it in half, and trust me, I know from experience, I have done that. So just be really careful, because if you have to glue it together, it's not gonna look very good. But I decided to distress this with some white Waverly chalk paint to give this a fun beach house look. And I just love these brushes for the distressing. So I just kind of, I don't really have a technique. I just kind of swipe over it a bunch of times and see how it turns out. Perfect amount of distressing for me. So this is some scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby, It's only about 40 some cents, and I love using their scrapbook paper for a lot of my projects. So this was great because once I took that roof off the house, it has 3 nails that are sticking up. So I ended up using those nails to kind of hold my scrapbook paper in place while I traced it, and then was able to kind of easily fit things back, and it holds it in place for me, which is nice. So I can kind of tell if it's fitting properly, but I like that. So I decided to use a glue stick, and I used the glue stick on the paper and the house itself. So don't just put it on the paper. It honestly holds better if you add this glue stick to both the house and the paper. But since I have used my finger sander on that house, make sure to wipe off any remaining dust after sanding it. That was something I realized I should do because it still felt dusty to me because I had sanded it, right? And, you wipe it off with your hand, or, blow it off as best you can, but there's still a lot of dust there, and it kind of messes with being able to stick down with the glue. So I highly recommend just taking a paper towel and just rubbing that over it really quick before you glue any of this down, because the glue will not adhere to that dust, and it will definitely make it not stick as well. So definitely just wipe it down. It does not even have to be with a wet paper towel, just a dry one, and that's good enough. So we're gonna hot glue down this roof back and just put it right back over the nails. And I could kind of feel it. I could kind of feel the nails going into the roof, so it was holding that in place besides the glue, which held it nice. And next we're just going to, as a last but not least final step, just stress the sides of this house and the bottom of this house. We're just going to touch up the ends here and just kind of do a quick swipe on the bottom as well. I love this part. I love this part. It's one of my favorite parts. And by the way, if I had any excess paper sticking out, I did take my finger sander and just kind of run that along the edge and then just get rid of any excess pieces that were hanging out over the edge of this house. So definitely my finger sander is one of my favorite products. I always have that link down for you guys below if you want to know where I got that from. I got it from Amazon, just like I got this silicone mat from Amazon. I love this mat, you guys, by the way, because I just love to clean it off and then it's good to go to use again. All of that is linked down below, and last but not least, hot glued down this starfish that also came from Dollar Tree, and that is everything for this project. I just love how this one looked. This one was absolutely one of my favorites of today. So if you guys liked today's video, please make sure to subscribe, go watch more videos, and let's keep in touch on Instagram. Thank you guys so much. Take care.